Right. Now let's mix up just a little bit of a mountain, because we don't need a whole lot of paint for this guy. A little bit of crimson, a little bit of blue, a little bit of black. I'm gonna come in here, just like that, mix it up. We're gonna have two mountains in here, so we need to lighten one section. So grab a little bit of white, come over here, and lighten this guy up to where he's a different shade of dark. Right, look at that, dark versus that real dark that we made, right? Wipe off the old knife over here. Okay, we're gonna scrape up some of this darkness. We're gonna come up and just make the most gigantic mountain you've ever seen. We're gonna connect them. Let's do like a far away one back there, right? Scraping on the bottom. We don't need a whole lot. All we're really worried about is what this top line looks like, right? As our mountain comes down. Let's bring it down there. We'll save that yellow for our mist and stuff, right? Mountain comes up, we scrape up some more paint. Starts to get really big over here. Really climbs up, tries to touch the tops of those clouds, right? And then it goes off to the side. You want it to be more flat on the sides, right? As we're pulling down, scraping up that paint. It's gonna be real dark and it's gonna grow real far if you don't scrape up the remainder of stuff that we have. Even though it just seems like a little, it's gonna help. Now we're gonna take that 1-inch brush again. We still haven't washed it. Let's pull this guy out to the side, but not too crazy because we don't wanna have to cover over too much of that rock, right? We're gonna bring that rock back into the foreground. Very light little strokes as our mountain goes down because I don't wanna cover up too much of that yellow down there, right? Maybe this guy starts to come in this way because that looks kind of cool. Have him come in there just by very light little strokes, right? Ooh. Just little sideways things. You can change stuff with the direction of your swipes on your mountain. Start to bring it out into 3D life. Maybe back here, it goes straight down. And then these guys were like, came across the side or whatever. And this guy over here pushes that guy back even further. Start to come down into the mist. We don't want to have too much, right? Make little turns, make little changes. Pull it off in little different directions. Maybe a little bit darker paint over here on the shadowy side. Just like that. Fantastic. Very light pressure, right? Pulling away from it because I don't want it to cover up too much of the stuff down there. Whew, that looks great. Nice purpley, bluish sky. A little bit of orange over here that got saved. I meant to save a little bit more of the yellow, but that's what happens when you paint. Sometimes things like to grow, right? All right, now we're gonna mix up some shadows. We can use our original shadow, but I wanna have a little bit kind of light blue, snow. So a little bit of blue, a lot of bit of white because it's gonna go real dark blue fast, right? So mix it up until it's this kind of sky bluey color. Both sides of the knife, you're gonna wanna wipe them both in. There we go, nice sky blue. Let's take a little bit of that kind of lighter color that we had, just mix it in so it's a little kind of gray, just a little grayish color to it. Not over mix it. We don't wanna over mix it, that's for sure. Now we're gonna get a little bit more white, a little bit of that blue. We're gonna come down here and we're gonna make our highlights. Now they're not the most bright white highlights, right? I never like using the bright super far away. So it's a very light blue, but mainly white, and it's gonna stand out so bright against the darkness back there. So now we have our 4 colors, right? Our highlights, our shadows number 1, our shadow 2, and our shadow 3, the darkest of the shadows, right? It's gonna be cool. I've never done that before. We're gonna have to start naming them like that. Now, you can do your highlights first, and you can shape your mountain like that, but I kind of like doing the shadows first. We do it backwards, right? So we're gonna start with shadow 1. We're gonna come over here. That's a cool, like, I don't know, like a tag name. Base to shadow 1, base to shadow 1. Yes, shadow, this is shadow 1 base. All right, now we're gonna go into shadow 2, a little bit darker. I'm gonna cover over half of that guy. Gonna let him rock and roll this way, right? Now we're gonna go into shadow 3, just to show you the difference right here. Even darker, right? Man, now you got this progression of light and dark, even in our shadows. Come back in with our highlights. Maybe there was a bit up here. Remember, we don't have to touch everything, and these guys are so straight down, but you wanna have enough brightness and enough snow to have it come down, right? Change your angles up a little bit. Don't wanna have it just be at the very tip top. It's gotta continue on like it's been flowing for years and years, just frozen. A little bit off to the side, maybe save a little bit of the shadow over there. Just mix it slightly. Look, ooh, the more we mix it, the more they're gonna mix together and start to change. Start to look really neat. A little bit of our blue maybe come in. For just a little bit of a ridge in there, just little things. Just by changing it to that bluish color, dropping in different things, you're gonna start to make your mountain really, really 3D. It's gonna be fantastic. And the more we mix into the deeper, darker shadows, the more we go, right? A little bit of shadow over here now. Work on this little peak separately, right? Oh, he's got a little deep darkness in him. Very, very straight angle on this guy, right? I'm gonna come up here. Again, I don't wanna cover over all that shadow. I wanna save some of it. Gotta save it, right? And that guy comes down in here, just very quick, light pressure, right? You'll be amazed at what happens with the right amount of pressure and the right amount of speed on your knife. You will be amazed what happens. Right, let's say we'll come in over here and do our highlights first on this guy. To show you, it's a little bit more difficult to get your highlights and then to sneak your shadows back in, depending on the size of your knife or the angle that you're working in. It can be harder to do the shadows first, which is the shadows second, which is why I like to do them first. Kind of put them in there, and then you can go back in with your highlights and start to shape. Maybe the mountain came over there and then went off like that, right? Just very light pulls, very quick little light things. That's all you need. Maybe in that shadowy area right there, there's another bit of blue. You can go back and sneak it in and try different things. Very cool. Now, we want to make it soft. In order to make it soft, you can take your 2-inch brush, just very lightly, barely even touching it, right? In the same directions that you went down with your knife. So if you went down this way, you go up that way. You went down this way, go up that way. Right? That's why everyone's is going to be so different. Right? On this side, we kind of went like this. And all we're doing is just making it very soft, off in the distance, and then come in and we can tap it. Right? Tapping some of that color and bringing it down. See what we're doing? We're bringing it down into the fog, but I don't want to lose all the fog. That looks really cool just in itself right there. Right? All we're doing is making the bottom of it sort of misty. And then we can come back and put in a different mountain right in front of it. And because we've already spread out all this paint, it's going to be nice and easy. Nice and easy. And now we're going to use our darker shadows to make this mountain. Right? Come maybe up right here. Anywhere into our little misty areas where we want to throw some peaks and some differences, some little pops, little difference in color that's going to make this little mountain stand out in front of that little mountain. All while we grow. Right? Maybe save some of that yellow mist off in the distance over there. Now we're going to repeat the same steps we just did. Very lightly. Pull it out. And again, I don't want to lose all this light color down here. Maybe our mountain changed direction, went this way. Right? Or this guy came down in front, went back that way. Just very lightly again, because we don't want to lose all the mist. As little bits of mist are what's really going to help us. Right? And you can go back over here. Pulling it down lightly. See, the more paint we put on it, the more we can cover those trees or rocks or whatever we had underneath, or the more that we can let shine through. The more we really can. All right, a little bit. I don't want to cover up too much of the mist, but I don't want it to be too bright either. And just by kind of over mixing it, now we've got our little valley back there, kind of covered in snow. Very cool. Same 3 shadows. Shadow number 1, the first one we made. All right. Put it in there randomly, quickly, throw it in. Shake it up. All right, covering half the mountain, turn, maybe it went this way instead. Can't have them all go the same way, right? Come in here, bounce it in quick, throw it, let it go. That's it. That's all you need. You do too much, you're gonna ruin it. All right, pull it off to the side. Let that knife, just let the paint roll off the knife. And then when you hear your knife scraping against the canvas, you know you're out of paint and you need to go back and reload. All right, now we're gonna come back, grab our highlights. Actually, you know what? Let's go back. Let's get a little deeper, darker shadows. Our shadow 3, right? Throw that darkness back in there. Get those where that light just really can't reach that far. All right, maybe down in here, maybe back in there. Just changes the look, makes it much deeper, much more jaggedy on the back side of the shadows. All right, then we can come back in, we can cover them with white. Change it all up. Well, not the white, but our kind of snowy mix, right? Come back in there. Start dropping it down, cover over different things. Let it fall off very lightly, very quickly. Start to shape your mountain, right? Maybe this guy was up here. Just like that. Very cool. See how I didn't touch these two bits of highlight? Got to leave a little bit of darkness in between. Makes it look more real, more realistic. It went down this way. Who knows? Who knows where our little mountain went? Let's throw a little bit of shadow in between here, though. Throw a little bit of that blue in there. Just to change it the smallest little bit. That's all you need. That's all you need in your life. A little bit of change. Right? Not even covering everything. Not every piece has to be as bright as the other mountain. Right? Maybe this guy, he got a little bit brighter. Just like that. Starts to come down. We can start to mix in little things, little bright areas of light blue for our snow. Come back in. Really throw it down in there. And that little piece slide down. Who knows? What does yours look like, right? This is what mine looks like. What does yours look like? Is yours a little bit brighter? Is it a little bit darker? Is your mountain bigger? Is it smaller? What is it? I can't wait to see it. That's what it is. A little bit of our blue down the bottom. And then you can go back and every so often just change little things. Add a little bit of blue back in there. Or here. Or here. Little things. Little differences that people are going to see and they're going to go, ooh, I really like that. I like what he did right there. Right? You're probably saying that right now. Oh, I really like how this one's coming out. There we go. Very lightly, right? Because we don't want to, you see how it starts to deposit little things down here from the very light amount of paint that we're picking up on the brush? Very small, very light, very gentle swipes. Gentle. Like you're swiping a baby's face. Very gentle. So gentle. Because if you push too hard, your mountain's going to go flying. Like a meteor came down, right? We're going to come in here. Again, we'll start over on this side. Kind of pop it. Pull some of that mistiness down, right? That's all we're doing. Pulling it down. Some of that blue is mixing in with the yellow and causing it to be green, which is very cool. Exactly what we wanted. Right? Just like that. And all we're doing now, we're softening the bottom so we can put on another layer, and then another layer, and then another layer. And that's all we're doing is painting in layers. Layer upon layer upon layer. Now,